Possession crucial from this. How much longer will the referee allow? Dublin lead by a point. And there's the whistle. It's over. It's over.
Hello there and welcome to the RTÉ GAA Podcast. We're back to review the weekend's Allianz Hurling League action. We've got up early on a Monday morning, so I hope you're listening to us in good form after the weekend. Mikey Stafford is with me here in studio. Mikey, how are things with you?
Not too bad, Cathal, yourself?
All good. Good to have you in. And Shane McGrath is on the line as well. Shane, how are things?
Good, lads. All good here in Tip.
We just couldn't wait to get up and talk about hurling, Mikey. It's early on a Monday, but lots to chat through after the weekend.
Shane had no Tipperary match this weekend, but he's bathed in blue light there just to remind himself he's a Tipperary man. But I suppose Tip not playing... The only thing better than Tip winning a hurling match, I would say, is Kilkenny losing a hurling match by a record total. Would that be fair, Shane?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough to say. Yeah, I rarely, if ever, see it, Mikey. To be honest, what happened
You have to go back to
Saturday
the
night.
50s to see something like that. So yeah, you definitely haven't seen that.
Now, come here. I'm good with for you, lads. I was walking out Salt Hill Saturday night. I was walking back down to the two Kilkenny lads were chatting away, and like there weren't many Kilkenny people at it now, which, you know, I suppose fair enough. Maybe Saturday evening trying to get to Salt Hill, but one of them says to the other, says, "When is the last time we lost a match by that much?" And the other fella says, "I don't know, and I don't think Google might even know the answer to that question."
Oh man!
So that summed it up for me. I didn't envy poor Liam Ahern, had to go down and get interviews after the match, lads. And I know you've probably both been there, maybe, but whatever about getting an interview off Micheál Donoghue, Jeannie Mac trying to get an interview off Derek Ling, you know, he wasn't in the headspace for it. Like, really, I wouldn't blame him. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. They were betting every position in the field as really bare. Was Cian Kenny, to be fair. I've Cian Kenny down as scoring. He scored 10 points and he actually had 3 wides as well himself, would you believe? So he could have scored 13 points from midfield. But other than that, like Liam Moore tried, you know, he did okay. I think Liam Moore is the one guy for them maybe that might start championship of the newer lads, will say. I just thought everywhere else then it just looked lack of energy, as everyone has said. There was no drive. They looked like they just physically weren't able to get back after the Galway lads. Aaron Nyland scored a point there in the first half, and like a couple of weeks ago, it was highlighted how one of the Offaly lads couldn't get back after Cathal O'Neill, I think. But this wasn't far off it now, to be honest. Now, not that the fitness level. I would still say the fitness levels Kilkenny wise would be better, but they just looked dead. Like they looked, there was nothing in the legs to get back to make these challenges. And as I said, like Galway were just far superior all over the field. I thought Josh Ryan was brilliant. The Kilkenny lads were in and out, different lads in and out marking him. Massey Keown, Owen Cody, you know, they were in and out marking him. Killian Trayer's very solid at 6. As I said, like Keenan Fahey didn't start and Rory Burke took his place, and like Keenan Fahey must be looking in going, "Jeannie, I need to get back here soon to try and make championship team," because Rory Burke scores 3 points in a sideline but was brilliant in everything he did. Cathal Mullaney just... For me, lads, Cathal Mullaney has potential every year. I've said it before, to be the hurler of the year. And the further Galway go, the better a chance Cathal Mullaney has to be the hurler of the year. And that's every year for me with him. I just think he's just class. 6 points from play at his ease. Conor Whelan worked really hard. Like, scored 2 points, got a massive roar and scored his first point because of the work rate he'd done previously. And then, as I said, Aaron Nyland, 4 points from play, 9 frees. I made a comment Saturday night, lads, that on about, you know, showing the smallies, like the kids in school or in the club there, where should you be striking the ball? And if I could have got Aaron Nyland's hurley and took a picture of it, because he has this black spot embedded in his hurley from hitting it off the sweet spot every single time, and I was saying that's where you should be hitting the ball every time, because he struck the ball so well, playing with confidence. And then at the end of the day, like say their bench came on and did well. TJ Brennan came on, scored a point. Conor Cooney came on. Evan Nilan came on, scored a point. Oisin Lohan came on, scored a point. But for Kilkenny lads, I don't know now. I don't know how you feel. I've seen him play 3 times this year now in person doing the radio. And I was talking to one of the Kilkenny radio guys afterwards, and they felt as well that this was coming. that they just haven't been performing well. They haven't been able to get a really good performance in. They were lucky to be Waterford lads. I thought. I don't know. Do you agree? I thought Waterford did the better hurling that day. And just the other night there now, just I'd say it was a quiet bus on the way home. Anyway, I put it like that. And
Yeah.
I suppose the advantage for them, Cathal, is they'll have that extra week now before they play Tip, and I'd say this week in training now will be good, and I would expect a backlash in that Tip game, and I'd say whoever plays against Tip is getting a chance to say, here you go, you play well, and you'll start the championship. So
And that first
yeah,
championship game is against Galway and Salt Hill.
That's right.
So there's going to be a backlash there, you'd imagine, for sure. I don't know, Shane, you were there obviously for radio on Saturday. I was struck, you're talking about the general kind of lethargic nature of that Kilkenny display, but there's the lack of sharpness with their first touch even at times, which isn't really something that you'd associate with Kilkenny. It seemed to be miles off it on Saturday night.
There was one incident there. Ball bounced over to Keane Kenny in front of us, in front of the stand. It just bounced, went out over the line, and it just kind of summed it up for him, really. Like, normally another day he's just snapping it up, like, and he'd have it gone. Or as there was an episode in the second half, Cathal, do you remember the ball gets popped back out to Owen Cody? Owen Cody fumbles it. He goes to get it again, but Darren Morrissey comes in the meantime, puts his body in between the ball and Owen Cody. Owen Cody pushes him in the back, and instead of just being a basic simple score by Owen Cody standards, it's now a free out to Galway. Galway go down the field, and it was absolutely criminal, lads. Criminal the amount of time Galway had on the ball. I'd say they couldn't believe it, like, especially playing against Kilkenny and what we associate with them. So I don't know, like, I'd say the Galway people were delighted now coming away, because their newer lads have stepped up to the plate and they've played well on a consistent basis. And now Micheál Donoghue, whereas maybe this time last year wasn't sure if he had a panel, now he knows he has a panel and he knows he has competition for places, and they're buzzing. But I don't know what it was. I don't know what you can put it down to, Kyle. I suppose we've all been involved in teams or setups that's just you have a bad day. But when every single player has a bad day, Barrow, as I said, maybe Keane Kenny. No, I thought Keelan Doyle came in and brought a good bit of energy to the thing when he came in, and John Donnelly the same. But other than that, I'd say none of them wanted to see the ratings on the paper on the Sunday or anything like that. I thought their puck out strategy, lads. I don't know if you noticed that they're, like, as I said, like, they're probably aerially some of the best, like, probably traditionally the best team in the air. They're so strong there. I remember when we were playing them, they'd just be so physically strong. Owen Larkin would be so strong wing forward, or Henry obviously, or Richie Power, or these lads, and they'd just put it down on top of them, and they'd know they'd either win it or they'd break it, and the likes of Fennelly and these lads would be coming onto the breaks. And, like, the other night, I was saying in the first half, they actually didn't, to the best of my knowledge, actually put a puck out down on top of their half forward line. Rather, what they did was they'd all start deep, or they'd start in the middle, and Aidan Tallis would just hit the space rather than actually hitting the player. And it just didn't seem to work from the other night, because Galway copped onto it fairly quick. And for Galway then, they were very comfortable working it out, and it took Kilkenny ages, lads, to actually figure out we need to push up on the puck out and force them to work it out rather than giving them time to work it out. Because what they were doing was they were getting every single player outside the 45 and leaving a 1v1 with either Conor Whelan, sometimes with Darren Neary, or Aaron Nyland in with Mikey Carey. And it was a tough night the opposite for Mikey Carey, lads, because there wasn't a player within 40 or 50 yards of him. And
that's exactly what you
it's a
don't
really,
want to
really
see,
hard
isn't
thing
it?
as a defender. Like.
Yeah, you don't want to see that space in front of you. He picked up an injury as well, didn't he, Mikey Carey?
A bit of a knock,
game,
it was described as, wasn't too
Yeah.
dramatic. I think Anthony Daly said last night, he said he's never kind of seen Kilkenny players giving up, and that might have been true, but I think we're just seeing another description which was fairly damning. Was Kilkenny reminded somebody of Wexford a few years ago, a good 15, and then not much beyond that, which I think describes every Wexford team for about the last 40 years. But anyway, I just think Kilkenny, what you're seeing is the erosion of what was a supernatural belief in themselves. Like, that's what Kilkenny always had. Shane would know better than anyone. You think they're dead, and then next thing the hand comes up like the Undertaker out of the ground. They had that because they had the players. They were good enough. They had the track record. They'd done it time and again to teams, but they haven't been doing it recently. They've been doing it in Leinster, but we might get on to discussing the death of the Leinster Hurling Championship soon.
Leinster's back. Leinster's back, Mikey.
No, it's really not. Galway are back. They're not even in the province, and we're relying on Dublin.
No. I don't agree, Mikey. I think Leinster will be better this year.
It might be an entertaining championship, but the All Ireland champion isn't going to be coming out of Leinster.
No, I'd agree with you there. Yeah.
I've been doing this podcast a long time, and myself and Jackie Tyrrell have been fighting the good fight for Leinster. Well, you lot wonk on about the Hardy Cup, etc., etc. But
come here. Look what happened yesterday. Talk about Kilkenny teams not giving up. Our Saturday, geez, Nina CVS, they're up by 4 or 5 points, and the Kilkenny lads, the Kieran's lads, they never give it up. And they ended up winning the match by a goal. And the local journalist here, to get Nina Garge and Shane Brophy, said, in all the matches he's been, in all the things he's been, he said it's probably one of the most heartbreaking defeats he's ever had to kind of write about, and that summed it up really. So, but look, that Kilkenny spirit is definitely there in that group, and it will always be there.
They've been coming through, yeah. But like the thing, like we'll talk about Galway, kind of the underage talent kind of comes in gluts. It's like, oh Jesus, this Galway won 3 minors in a row, like, and they do that every now and again. Kilkenny was never that. It was just, oh yeah, who won the minor All Ireland last year? Oh, Kilkenny. How many lads on the senior team? Oh, none. But in 3 years' time, they'll come. They're very slowly incubated players, and that's just not happening of late.
Is that it, Mikey? I agree with you, Mikey. Like success, like what is success in the long term? Like, and for me, I was involved with the Tip Minors, right, in 2019, 2020. And 2019, we got the mother and father of batons of teams, like Limerick. Like, I'm talking about Limerick now with Cathal O'Neill, Adam English, Colin Coughlin, Ethan Hurley. Unbelievable minor team.
Where are those lads now, huh?
We lost the Munster final to them, right?
Mm.
And at the time, it's devastating because you think, oh, we failed here. And someone texted me the other day and said, say, like said Jack Leamy now, and Peter McGarry and Robert Doyle, Mikey Cork was on it last year, Danny Slattery was on it last year, these kind of lads, right? And they said, there's 7 or 8 now that group are after going on to hurl senior for Tip. And sometimes we can get caught up maybe in actually winning things underage. That in the long term, the success is really how many of them play senior for their county.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real success. Now, it's nice winning things, don't get me wrong. But to get teams through or get players through, and that's what you're seeing with this Galway group now, right? They mightn't have won a minor the last maybe 5 or 6 years, or won the under-20s a couple of years ago. But look at the amount of them now that are playing for the Galway senior team. I just thought it was interesting. Joe said last night he got fired by the county board. He said that'd be a chat for another day. But that's success for them now. Is getting those lads to hurl senior for Galway and hurl well for Galway and not look out of place. So, sometimes we can get caught up maybe winning things underage. I know we're the same here in Tip. If we don't win it, it's a failure. But to develop them and help develop them and let them play senior for their county, that's the real success at the end of the day for me, lads.
And you know what, Shane? Tipperary could relegate Kilkenny now, the last day.
Oh, wow.
If results were to go that way. Would you like that?
Sure, would Celtic like to relegate Rangers?
Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Look, lads, I tell you, if that's on the cards, I could see a very strong Tip team going out. I could see a very strong Kilkenny team going out. But look, that's with Tip have a job to do next weekend against Waterford, obviously. So they'll be worrying about that one first. But I'd say that would definitely get a few extra people to go to the game, Cathal, anyway. Yeah.
Is this? Derek Ling said a couple of times, Mikey, in the interview with Damien on television, unacceptable was the word he used.
Definitely his word on it, yeah.
That was what he was referring to all the time. I mean, it's still early in the year. I think there was talk of a sickness in the camp in the last couple of weeks as well. But I mean,
that would be an explanation because, formerly only, a bubonic plague could down a Kilkenny team like this. I don't know. Like, there's not, there's still a lot of the lads around who were, running All-Ireland champions close in All-Ireland semi-finals the last few years. But there's quite a considerable number that those players missing at the moment, and clearly they are being missed. Adrian Mullins, Hugh Lawler. I don't know what the story is the goalkeeper just a selection issue at the moment, Shane? Is it just Tallis' favourite?
I don't know. If Aidan Tallis and then you Dermot Galway will say was the sub goalie there Saturday night, so Owen Murphy didn't feature at all. Like so, but look, Aidan Tallis has done nothing wrong, to be fair to him.
No, he's not. But you might be looking for some calm older heads now with things kind of going the way they're
true.
going.
True. There's actually no need for goalie there Saturday night, Mikey. It was just last man back would have done, or like, because there was no shot at goal.
No.
Like, it was just the goalies were just there to poke it out. Do you know, like, it's like I said it last, about the game has changed slightly. You know what I mean? Like, for a lot of teams, I suppose, in regards, to hit that target of 30 points. A lot of teams seem to be happy enough to hit it in the points total. Maybe Cork might be an outlier to that, to try and score goals all the time. But there's just, in particular, the game the other night, there was not one shot a goal. Not one shot a goal. And there was, quick maths here now, 52 points scored. So you'd 52 points, and altogether then you had, maybe 70, 75 shots taken altogether, but not one of them were taken towards the goal. So I suppose I found that quite interesting, thinking about it on the way home to Carolyn.
Yeah, and you mentioned Cork then there, Shane, about their goal chance. That was one of the things that Ben O'Connor spoke about afterwards, was that they didn't really create too much against Limerick. They lost it by 3-19 to 20 points. Did we learn much about either team in that match, or what we might expect to come from that match when they play each other later in the year?
Do you know what you learned there now, Kyle, in my opinion, right? So you could have Barry Walsh or Alan Walsh, or maybe a few of the newer Cork lads coming onto it, and they could be asking the likes of Brian Hayes, or asking the likes of Shane Barrett, what's the intensity like when you play Limerick? And they'd be saying, oh, geez, it's unreal. It is unreal, yeah. But there's only one way for them to actually learn what the intensity like is against Limerick, and that's actually to go out and experience firsthand the intensity of playing against Limerick. And I think that's a massive plus for the Cork lads to get into them there the other day before championship, because that was intense. Like, there's no comparison what went on in Salthill and what went on in the Gaelic grounds. Now there's a lot going on between Cork and Limerick at the moment, and the rivalry they have, and obviously the crowds they bring does add to the intensity and add to the atmosphere. But for a lot of the Cork lads to experience that intensity firsthand, you just can't buy that. It's worth anything. It's worth a month's training to them. And it just went to show, I suppose, the ruthless nature of those games, of the top level teams, in that Tim O'Mahony tries to do a nice little backwards hand pass on minute 57, gets intercepted by Shane O'Brien. Keane Lynch picks it up. Cathal O'Neill, one bounce, doesn't take it into the hand, off the hurley, finishes low into the bottom left. And that just sums up, if you make a mistake against the top teams, it will get punished, and it will get punished severely.
I had that in my notes as well. That wasn't even a mistake. That was just, like, I think I tried to do that in a junior training match, or just in a training session one day, and the captain nearly broke my hand. Like, he was like, what the hell are you doing? Like that was weird. Like, there were certain things in the match where there was a few fingers relocated, there was a good few scalps, there was Gillan's constant headlocks, which he gets frees in for. There were certain things where you thought the intensity was through the roof, and then you see someone trying a reverse hand pass just outside their own 21, and you're like, how serious are they taking this match?
I'd say we mightn't see the backwards Tim Mahoney hand pass come championship, maybe.
I don't think so.
If that's a learning to take. But it was a bit of a mad one to try it right with the bodies that were around him. But look, I think Brian Hayes, lads, is now getting into the unmarkable territory. And I just think if he has space in front of him, or if they want to go even two inside, or play 2 and 1, play kind of a triangle, one of them's at the top of the triangle, whoever that might be. If Brian Hayes is getting any sort of service really at all, he's winning the majority of them. Like, the amount of ball he got on the other night, he ends up with scoring 3 points from play himself, doesn't he? Yeah. And I just think the form he's in, the size he is, I think he's gotten even physically
Stronger,
fitter and stronger
it's noticeable,
last year. And it's just his vision as well, and he gets the likes of Alan Connolly playing off him, or I suppose maybe Barry Walsh, he's not doing anything wrong really. Alan Walsh isn't doing anything wrong. So, like, there's so many options in the forward line. It's actually scary. Like, I mean, you get, like, Dara Fitz comes on for a little bit, Decky Dalton comes on for a little cameo role as well. So, look, while Limerick won the match, I think Cork would have got a lot out of it too. But, like, we kind of seen the Limerick of old, lads. I think, the way they were setting up, they're back with the 2 boys inside, and that diagonal ball is so hard to defend. And if they do go with Shane O'Brien and Aaron Gillan inside, and do give him a good quality of ball, or it doesn't even have to be perfect either, because Shane O'Brien is so physical, and we know what Gillan can do. Like, and as you said, Gillane, the greatest man ever to foul someone and still win a free himself. But
It's
he's
incredible.
so good at it.
It is
I've
amazing.
I honestly, lads, I've only admiration for him how he does it. It's
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
unbelievable.
I'm in no way having a go at him. I just don't know how he does it. Jeremy Elric has him in a full headlock, and then 3 seconds later, free it.
Unreal. And like, he's the kind of fella that if the ball is coming in, you could catch the other lad's hurley, do a little juggling trick with the 2 hurleys, hand your man back his hurley, and the ref will go, that's a free, steps by the defender there. And he's like, I didn't even have the ball or my hurley. I was like, no, you fouled him. So he has an uncanny ability to win that free. But I think Cork would have got a lot of positives out of it in that regards. You think about that, who they didn't have, and then how intense the first half was. Cathal O'Neill's goal goes in. I think it's kind of done then at that stage, you know, although Cork did fight back. But what I did admire about Limerick was we've given a long time talking about the lads who've done it and done it and done it again and again and again for them. And we were wondering, and I was wondering, even chatting to people, I'm sure you were too, when are the newer lads going to step up? Like, you can't keep asking Gillane, you can't keep asking Keane Lynch, Garrod, Tom Morrissey. You can't keep asking these lads again and again, lads, can he get us through there and we'll pitch in? So what I thought I saw the other night was a kind of a changing of the guard in terms of the newer lads, as we call them, although a lot of them have been on the panel for maybe 3 or 4 years, stepping up to say, hey, our team now, and we'll do this, and ye can come in and ye can finish it off and ye can do your bits of brilliance and magic, but we're going to take this by the scruff of the neck now. And that's evident in the fact that between Aidan O'Connor, Adam English, Cathal O'Neill, Hugh Flanagan, Shane O'Brien, they get 2-16, right? And I think that for me says, yeah, it's our team now, and we're going to take this on board, because we were maybe wondering what was going to happen even in the Waterford game now when a lot of them got their chance and they didn't perform. But I think they've been just steadily and consistently performing. There's one guy I suppose you'd single out, maybe Aidan O'Connor. He's been exceptional. He's probably been the player of the league so far. And he just needed a chance and he needed a break. I've seen Aidan up close and personal with the club. I was with his club, Ballybrown, for a year. And I was with him involved with UL in the colleges for the last couple of years. And I've seen what this guy can do. And he's unbelievable. Also, his knowledge of hurling, lads, is unbelievable. If you're ever having a table quiz about hurling, get Aidan O'Connor on your team. It's unbelievable what he knows about hurling and what went on for a long time. But he was exceptional the other night again. 1-11, Adam English 2 points, Hugh Flanagan comes on, scores a point, Colin Neal gets 1-2, and the Bull, as we call him, a goal. And I also love that dynamic, that starter finisher dynamic between what's going on between Garrod Hegarty and Tom Morrissey, lads. That that's what you are probably going to see. One will be the starter, one will be the finisher. Again, we see Garrod starts, Tom comes on around the 50-52 minute mark, and he finishes the job and he chips in with a point. But look, I thought it was a very very intense first half. Both teams will get a lot out of it. Is it going to be one of 5 meetings, as people keep saying this year? I personally don't think it will, but you know, it's not out of the realms of possibility or impossibilities that it will. But do the two of them really, would you really want to play each other in the league final? I think Limerick maybe want it more than Cork. Just the fact that they're off the first round of Munster Championship, I think that game would be a massive benefit to them. But look, the two of them could be sick of playing each other by the time July comes around, lads.
Yeah, like Limerick and Galway play each other now, so that's essentially a league semi-final, if you like, in that last round fixture, assuming Cork will beat Offaly in their last round match. From a Cork point of view, they did change up the team again, Mikey, the last day too. I mean, obviously Ben O'Connor is developing a really strong panel, but didn't seem too concerned about things afterwards.
No, he definitely didn't. He seemed almost jovial, and he seemed quite giddy after the match almost. I don't know, maybe it was just because it was a good physical encounter and he didn't have to give out about the state of modern hurling or whatever. But I thought they faded a little bit, but at the same time, he wasn't his strongest. It wasn't his championship team, I suppose. Like all managers now, he's looking to kind of to fill out his 15 and kind of discover a few new players or whatever, and he's doing that. But I still don't think he'd be happy to have lost it. I'm not quite as bathed in blue light there as Shane is, but I also don't think that Limerick and Cork are going to have it all their own way so much this year that they're going to play each other 5 times. But at the moment, you'd probably say they're the two best teams we've seen. But that match on Saturday night, it wasn't the two best teams in the country, like kind of going at it completely hammer and tongs. There was a slight element of shadow boxing to it, particularly you would probably say, or maybe Cork people would hope you'd say from Cork, but there was still a lot to like about Cork. I thought, really like around the middle, they were really competitive, especially in the first half. It was very physical, it was very confrontational in the first half, and they went toe to toe with Limerick, who have kind of, dominated that aspect of hurling for the last half decade or so. So, I don't think he'd be too upset. But probably wouldn't have expected it to kind of get away from them the way it did in the second half either.
Yeah.
So as they always say, it's the old cliche, well, at least they have something to work on now in training this week,
What's
so
that
maybe
word?
that's the
Work-ons.
The work-ons,
the official term.
It's more of a rugby phrase, but we'll allow it.
Are we allowing that in GA, are we? Are we allowing that?
It's very, very linked to rugby now in my head. Would you use work-ons now, Shane, as a coach? Would you use that phrase?
We would use, positives
learnings,
and work
would you use learnings?
You're not a sub anymore, you're a finisher.
Oh, yeah.
I know, yeah.
I remember we used to play A versus B, and some of the lads would take serious offence that it would be A versus B. So there was about a week or so there they used to call it the possibles versus the probables. So that kind of went out the window fairly lively, and lads said, look, come here, it's A versus B. If you want to be on the A team, get on the A team and don't be giving up on the B team.
Just before we move, I just want to say, I had a lot of the new fellas highlighted as well, same as Shane. But and Keane Lynch got a lot of plaudits for obvious reasons. But I just thought, Kyle Hayes on a hurling field, the man, he nearly always does the right thing. But it's often very different. Sometimes it's a 3-yard pass, sometimes it's a hand pass, sometimes it's a 60-yard raking diagonal ball, or sometimes he decides to take off on a run, 40, 50-yard run, which ends in a 21-yard free or a point or whatever. I just thought he was exceptional again.
It's wing back to Mikey, isn't it? It's wing back rather than centre back is where
you're convinced by this, and William Downey, who's done nothing wrong to say he should take the 6 jersey. It does give him that bit of freedom. And he's very unpredictable. You don't the opposition. You were writing in your column last week about how hurling now is, get to a certain area of the field and launch a diagonal ball towards one of your two inside forwards or whatever. Kyle Hayes doesn't play like that. Kyle Hayes he's a bit more unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do when he gets the ball. He's just great to watch, and recurring nightmares of what it would be like to play against him.
He gets the ball because of the goal he scored against us in the Munster final down in Park Heave. Remember that? He picked up the ball around his own.
It was hurled backwards.
45, hops it off the ground, still goes, and then has the wherewithal and the, I suppose, the composure to bury it. It's just, that's what he does to teams, Mikey. When he picks up that ball, you're worried not more about the ball he's giving in, but the ball he's carrying. Because when he takes it on, you just no stopping him. He's obviously a huge man, serious athlete, is an unbelievable hurling ability, but he gives you something else at 7 that you might be able to get out of him at 6, in that he could just attack that channel in front of him if there is space there. And now you're asking a question of, your opposition's midfields or wing forwards, do you go to him, do you not go to him? If you do go to him, he'll just, as you said, he'll just slip it. And next thing Keane is on a bit of room, or Cathal O'Neill or Garrod or these guys. But if you don't go to him and the crowd get behind him, a Kyle Hayes point from a solo run on the scoreboard is worth 1, and to the team is probably worth 3, I'd say, because it just, the way the crowd reacts and everything. He's just one of those. He's one of those players. He's he's kind of a hero to the Limerick fans. But it's just the way he plays the game that he gets that energy going in the whole group. But I think it's at 7 that's where he gets the best out of him, or that's where the team will get the best out of him, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, they have options for sure in that area. Just to mention a Waterford tip as well, that was postponed. It'll take place this coming weekend now. That's following the passing of Benny Kiley, and we send our sympathies to the Kiley family on their sad loss. In 1B then, Mikey, Wexford, I mean, they're doing okay. I mean, they are improving.
I did say here that I think that my aim for this year was to be not relegated to Division 2 and not be relegated to the Joe McDonagh. So mission accomplished on one end.
Come on.
No, honestly, the turnover of players, and I think it showed, They did all right. They did all right, but they did all right against. I won't call it the Clare B team. We'll call it the Clare A- team. Like there was a lot of change to that Clare team, and they kind of kept Wexford at arm's length until got within a point briefly, and then I've never seen Lee Chin take as bad a shot at goal.
That one late on.
Yeah, that wasn't his best effort, in fairness to him. But I'm not criticising Lee Chin. Everyone's allowed a bad shot, but
you are. That's it. Now cut that. No call.
There's our clip.
I'll have my passport revoked. On another day, he would have found the top corner with that, but it wasn't. And I think it would have been grand larceny now if we got out of that game, because like Clare, even with an awful lot of inexperienced players, even debutants, they were the better team. And Lee Chin and Simon Roach and Conor Hearn can't do absolutely everything in the attacking end of the field for Wexford. But it's not actually the attacking end that I'm worried about. It's kind of, there's a lot of big characters missing from the middle of that Wexford defence from the last couple of years, and they haven't been replaced yet. And maybe they've been replaced, but I don't know, Shane. Sometimes I think if you're a young forward making a step up, maybe it's slightly easier to get up to the pace of senior championship hurling than it is if you're a defender. I think sometimes for defenders there might be a bit more learning involved in kind of the dark arts of the game or whatever, or the sheer physicality of it. But that's kind of way I think the Wexford attack, although it's slightly reliant on a couple of people, it's not functioning too badly. Whereas the defence, I just feel that's where they are not at a Division 1A standard yet. Anyway,
so Mikey, it's not. This is my opinion on it now, right? For in terms of 1B, I don't think it's the end of the world stuff if you're in 1B next year again. Like so Wexford I never thought I'd maybe say this now, but you're putting Kildare in that bracket now, to be honest, the way they're going. Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're trying to find your feet as an inter-county player, or if you're trying to find new players and try things out, it's very hard to do that in 1A. It's very hard to do it. It's very hard to do it against Limerick, Cork, Tip, Galway, Kilkenny. It's very hard to do it. Waterford there as well. But if you're in 1B, there is that opportunity to try things, try a system, try someone out, give someone a go, safe in the knowledge that there's a better chance of them settling into this game than there would be if we were in 1A. The flip side of it is, Mikey, it's just miles off championship hurling. It's miles off. It is a good bit off what's going on. So take the comparative. Yesterday in Ennis, Clare and Wexford, albeit Clare are not with a good few players for the first half of hurling there, what went on, and try and compare that to what went down between Limerick and Cork Saturday night in the Gaelic grounds. Now people would say, that's different because Limerick Cork have the rivalry. Yeah, it is, but that's just where the standards at up there. They're setting the standards up in 1A at the moment. And if you compare that with what's going on in the games in 1B, that's the only negative, I suppose I would say, is that the positive is you stay there, you can learn, you can try things. If you are in transition, it's not the worst place to be. But when it comes to championship, there is no comparison in the prep you're getting between 1A and 1B. So that'd be my take on it for the Wexfords or the Kildares of this world. Actually, and I know we're going to probably go on to Kildare. What did Arsene Wenger say before? One of the first cup trophies you win is to come in the top 4. But that's the old Arsenal. That's the Arsenal mindset.
The Arsenal fans mightn't agree with you towards the end of his tenure, but anyway.
I think it's massive for Kildare what they've done. And it's to be there, to be competitive. They're going to turn heads. To do that yesterday without Jack Sheridan, which is an absolute disgrace that he was still suspended yesterday for what happened. You know what I mean? I think that they're going to have a big win, aren't they, lads? They know Cathal Dowling yesterday either. He was injured as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So they're going to have a big win in the Leinster Championship. So what's a big win in the Leinster Championship for Kildare in your opinion?
Could they beat Kilkenny for the crack?
Wexford first up.
I wouldn't go that far now. I don't but if Brian Dowling,
I'm in a dark mood this morning, Shane.
Can beat Kilkenny with Kildare, I think you just have to say, when do you want the Kilkenny job? he because he's doing some job at the moment, lads. He was over Kieran's on Saturday.
Yeah,
did a great win, albeit they robbed Dina CBS. What he's doing with Kildare at the moment and has done for the last couple of years, what he's done to Kilkenny Camogie girls. I think I've said that a couple of times I'm here before. I think he's managerially he's ticking every box that he needs to tick to get the big job whenever it does come down the line. If he wanted it, but wow, if Kildare beat Kilkenny, Jeannie Mac lads. Although like when Carlo drew with him too, a couple of years ago, that was a big result. But if Kildare were to beat Kilkenny in the Leinster Championship, yeah, that would be some turn up, all right.
Yeah, like they've established themselves brilliantly now. I mean, have they enough to stay there now for quite a while, do you think?
Well, like to stay in Division 1B, as Shane was just discussing, I don't think it's the hardest thing in the world. You have to be better than, two of the teams that came up from Division 2, but you have to be better than some combination of Down, Antrim, Laois, Meath, which I don't think is beyond the realms of possibility. No, they have some lovely hurlers. Like I know they highlighted them on League Sunday last night. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't because I actually watched the game and I was going to mention like this Paul Dolan fella, like this Owen Connolly in a Kildare jersey who was just able to drill the ball over the bar from 90 yards like effortlessly. It looked effortless. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. But not just it, like Imran Mirish Curtin, who still seems to be wearing a pretty significant bandage under his helmet from that knock he got a couple of weeks ago. He's just a ball of energy. Like I'd say he's horrible to mark. He's here, there, everywhere. He doesn't look like he's too big. He's the counter argument to your column last week, Shane. Mirish Curtin. He's not a big fella, but he's effective, isn't he?
I got enough abuse over that, lads. That people were saying, how dare I say Joe Dean or Chad Fitz or Kevin Broderick wouldn't make teams. I think the context was taken away. That I didn't say they wouldn't make teams. I think it's harder when you're that stacked nowadays.
Yeah. But they were phenomenal. But like you can't say Carlo are always kind of pushing a boulder up a hill because they're basically picking from about 4 clubs. But
when Mouse Kavanagh gets sent off, Mikey, you do take away that presence on the field, don't you? And like the gas lads, you'd be talking like last week. Could be talking Kildare Carlo could be a close one. Don't know how it's going to go. Kildare led the match by 17 points at one stage. Like so, you're going, wow, what? And as I said, can't stress enough. Without Jack Sheridan, without Carl Dowling, two of their big guns.
It'll be some shock next week when Carlo, or 2 weeks when Carlo beat Dublin to put Wexford into Division 1A. Now that'll be the shock to end them all.
Well, we've made some big calls here this morning.
Never about Kildare beating Kilkenny in the Leinster Championship. Carlo out beating Dublin in Division 1B.
Yeah. Now you said that. No, not me. Just.
Well, let's see what happens. Maybe it's too early. But look, I mean, 1B has been, I think, really enjoyable actually this season because there's been a lot of really competitive games. I think Clare will have got a lot out of it so far. They're building nicely. They're going along quietly. And Dublin as well. They beat Down pretty comfortably at the weekend, Shane. So it looks like they're odds on now to make the league final. Is there a scenario where Kildare could get through as well?
Oh, I don't know.
Possibly.
No. I don't.
They play Wexford in the last round, don't they?
They do play Wexford in the last round.
And Dublin play Carlow. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams.
If you treat them around the same points, in terms of the scoring difference.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't.
Dublin have a ridiculous scoring difference. So it's really, really unlikely. But, I mean, the Dubs going along nicely, would you say, Shane, just to finish?
Yeah, I would, yeah. No, do you know what? Getting that draw against Wexford is after turning out to be so important for him, isn't it? Like, and Chris Crumley said it. He said that night. He said if we didn't get the draw, our chances of getting to league final were more or less done. So that draw was unreal, and that's going to add a bit of spice to their Leinster Championship tie as well when they do meet. So I think they've done what they needed to do. I actually thought they were the better team the first day down in Enniskillen against Clare, and I actually thought they should have won that game. They didn't win it, but you know what? They've pushed on since. They've done what they needed to do. They got the job done against Down. They will get the job done next week as well, and they'll be in a league final. And like I said at the start of the year, I did fancy them to go strong in this league because I think they need it. Like they need the momentum. And to be fair to them, to Neil O'Callaghan and all of them, they've got it now. I'd be very shocked if they're not, and they will be in a league final against Clare. And you couldn't ask for a better test because Clare will have to go all out for that, go their strongest team. That's their prep for Munster Championship, and their first Munster Championship match is against Waterford, I believe. So they have to take that as basically championship mode for them, championship mode for Dublin, and I think they're going to go into the Leinster Championship, lads. Dublin are in a great place, really well prepared, maybe with a league title to their name as well. And we seen what happened before with Dublin teams when they were winning league titles. It did them no harm when they were going into championship after it. So I think Dublin are in a really, really good place right now, lads.
Well, let's see how it all plays out over the course of the final round in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, Mikey and Shane, thanks very much. Just a reminder before we go, you can get in touch with the podcast on email, sportpodcast@rte.ie, and you can like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast as well. But we'll talk to you again on Thursday.
Possession crucial from this. How much longer will the referee allow? Dublin lead